The Lormeran's Queen's Plate is regarded as the best weight for age race in the country. Looking at the field, you can see why. So how do you split the top 5 on the boards? Let's try.
Rainbow Bridge with a powerful performance.
Having been placed in all 3 of his previous runs in the race, reigning horse of the year Rainbow Bridge now goes for a win.
Top flight performance.
He's doing very well at home. Preparation's gone very well. He's a slightly older horse than the horses that are in it, but he's still the best weight for age horse in the country. His coat's good, and there's been no hiccups. So for me, I think he's done particularly well going into the race. He just needed his last run. He came off for quite a 4-month break, and we treated it as a gallop, and he nearly won it. So it was pretty good.
He's a great horse. He's got heart. He's got that thing that none of us know about. One of those qualities that we can't explain. It's a different horse. He's a very challenging horse.
How do you get on with him?
Well, I think in the past he wasn't one of the easiest horses, but I think Mr. Sands has figured him out. He's got his tricks, and he's changed. So when I rode him as a 3-year-old, he could flare up in races and over-race a little bit and then do a little bit of a hanging. But now, being a 7-year-old, he's an athlete, he's a sportsman, and he just does everything you want from him. He just makes life a lot easier for myself as a rider.
Linebacker.
Dual Grade 1 winner Linebacker is quite some horse. He's been placed in all 10 starts to date, 9 of which have been graded races.
An eye-popping performance from Linebacker.
Michele, he's done extremely well since the Green Point. His draw is we couldn't have wished for better. He himself is absolutely flying. Craig Zaki rode him for the first time in a hard piece of work this morning, and he's extremely happy with him. I really couldn't be happier, with where he is. He's in a fine space. He looks magnificent. So, we just got, it's in the lap of the gods now. We've done our bit. Now we've just got to wait and see.
Kommetdieding and Linebacker.
We are fortunate to still have Kommetdieding racing in South Africa, with all the international offers that have come for him. He now goes for his 2nd Grade 1 win.
We were worried a little bit about the draw, but I said to Ashwin it's a draw that he can overcome. He's done it once before, and for me, I think it's a great draw. Gavin, he knows this horse very well. He's at his home turf. Work-wise, we couldn't ask anything more of him. He is absolutely flying at the moment, and I'm certainly hoping that he can bring another plate home for us.
Just tell me about the importance of bringing your horses to the beach on a day like today.
Firstly, we always think legs, but I mean, it's mind as well, and especially with a horse like this, he's a smart horse and he takes it all in, and desensitizing for big meetings. We allowed crowds back at the races, so let's get him used to as many different possible things as we can expose him to. And I think it's so important for their well-being, both mentally and physically.
Warrior along the inside.
Cape Mile winner Warrior could be somewhat of a dark horse, and with Anton Marcus in the irons, he deserves respect.
Warrior stays on to win.
Comeback run was amazing. All those horses were having comeback races, like Rascallion ran a great race and then came out and got dirt again on the line. So I think his form line is very strong. You got Kommetdieding that was also having a comeback run, but so was Warrior. Doing very well at home. His gallop was okay. I was hoping for better. I had him in a race, but then realized that there was just too many races on top of each other. So I scratched him. Not enough recovery time, because between the last race, the race that was planned, I think, for Guinea's Day and the Queen's Plate, it was just all within like 6 weeks. And obviously coming back from a rest, he looks like he runs fresh. So we want to bring him into the race fresh, and that's the reason for the change. And I think he'll run a creditable race, but this is very hard.
Jet Dark on the inside.
The talented colt, Jet Dark, goes for back-to-back wins in this prestigious race.
Do it again, Jet Dark won it.
His comeback run wasn't ideal. it's a thing about being a colt. They tend to need their first runs back, and no matter how much work you do at home, there's nothing like, as a boxer would say, a fight, you know, to bring you on. Sadly, Schmunger was suspended on the morning of the scratchings, and we couldn't find a rider. Unfortunately, we found Gavin Arena at last minute. But to ride a horse like this, you've got to know him. I think Jet Dark, I love that he's come into this race under the radar. It seems like everyone's, you know, counting him out a little bit, and it's a big mistake. This horse is a serious racehorse, and I think he's going to run a massive race. He'll be in the fighting in the finish, and if all goes his way, he's certainly one of the horses to beat. The closer we're getting to the race, the more bullish I'm thinking that he's going to run a massive race.
But the race doesn't end here. If you have a ticket, you have a chance.
Seeking the Stars is keeping on going.
Recent Grade 3 Green Point Stakes winner, Seeking the Stars, has shown he can beat the best when tactically ridden over the Kenilworth Mile.
And Seeking the Stars kept going.
He won a super race in the Green Point. The draw is not a concern. He's well drawn. He has come on tremendously since that race. The only thing that I'm a bit worried about is that it's a step up in class for him to Group 1. And you know, we know that he's a very strong front-running type of horse. Bernie's been riding him. Bernie Fadeher's been riding him since he got the ride. So I'm very happy with him. Whether he's actually got the class to give a field of this nature, of this quality, the run around like he did in the Green Point, where some of those Group 1 horses were to their first start from a long Natal season. It remains to be seen, but all I can tell you that he is extremely fit and extremely well. So we're holding thumbs.
Trip of Fortune.
Winner of the Grade 3 Cape Classic, Trip of Fortune, then didn't have things go his way in his next start, the Grade 1 Cape Guineas. But the son of Trippy has plenty of class.
You know, obviously his last run in the Guineas was basically a non-event. He got very badly interfered with and basically almost put over the fence. So we didn't get much idea of, you know, where or how he ultimately could have finished in that race, whether or not the mile would, he did see out the mile or not. So it was very disappointing for us, and hence we've taken our decision to run him in the Queen's Plate this year. Fortunately, we didn't get in fact, we got the worst of the draws, 11 out of 11. And obviously it's a very tough field at weight for age terms. It's a tough race. But you know, he's the kind of horse that you can switch off anywhere in a race, and he's got a great turn of foot. So perhaps the 11 draw is not a bad thing, could be a blessing in disguise for him. I think there's going to be a fair amount of pace in the Queen's Plate this year, looking at the field. So perhaps, you know, that might be what he's looking for. Anthony Andrews rides in this year. He's ridden him twice before. He ran second on him his first start, and then he won on him at Durbanville. So he knows the horse pretty well. He does a lot of work on him at home, and he knows exactly how he needs to be ridden in that. Unfortunately, Aldo couldn't make the weight, so you know, Anthony I think was my next best option, knowing the horse and you know what he's done with him at home. So hopefully all those combinations work out. Obviously it's a tough race, and he's in a good place at the moment. He's doing pretty well at home. He looks magnificent, and we just have to be hopeful that he's good enough, and obviously whether or not he sees out the mile we'll find out on Saturday, hopefully.
And Pacaya is at the front.
Pacaya, who's won 3 from 5, is the 4th of Justin Snaith's runners.
Pacaya goes on from Darjeeling.
Like I said with the other horses, we went prominent in the Guineas. Unfortunately, Pacaya is not that type of horse. He's a horse that has to be given a chance in a race. He races in a rubber bit. He's got no intention of going forward. He's got just the most amazing way about him. He's a horse that I'm prepping probably into the Derby. And quite frankly, if you've got Grant van Zyl in a Group 1 like this, you run. If Grant says, I want to ride this horse in a race, you run. Grant van Zyl is that jockey that he knows something as well, and he's got a feel, and you always have to respect that. So certainly a horse not going to be easy in a big race like this, but I wouldn't count him out.
Pomp and Power, good traveller.
Winner of the Grade 2 Concord Cup, Pomp and Power is getting stronger with each and every run, having finished second to Double Superlative in the recent Grade 1 Cape Guineas.
Pomp and Power kept going.
Justin, is this a step up in class for him?
Step up in class. I can tell you now, Double Superlative is in the same class as all these horses, make no mistake. That's what I think of him. And we've kept him out of the race to save him for the Betting World Met. So we think very highly of Double Superlative, and to be frank, Pomp and Power ran an unbelievable race in the Guineas. He was gutsy that day. He kept fighting all the way to the finish line. I was very impressed. For me, I thought it was one of the most competitive all-round 3-year-old crop of horses in the Guineas. So he'll go positive, but I do think there's a horse of Vaughan Marshall also likes to be positive. So I think they're the two that will probably fight for the lead early. And if he's still got gas in the tank at the end, he will never give up. He's one of those type of horses.
Good traveller.
Glen Kotzen is represented by Grade 1 Premier's Champion Stakes winner, Good Traveller.
Good traveller to win it.
We were super confident going into the Guineas that we're going to win it. I honestly thought with Richard Fourie up, drawn well, working like a steam train, he had a great prep, and then everything went pear-shaped just because of bad luck. So I think we'd best ignore that run. Chatting to my owner, Howard Swigman, I said, Mornay does all the work at home. Why don't we give him a chance? He said, you know what, our luck's been so bad, and yeah, let's make it lucky. Let's give the lad the chance. I mean, you know, Mornay's a top rider in his own right, but he always has to take the back seat when it comes to the big races. So let's hope we have a little bit of lady luck in the race. If we do, we'll be competitive, but wow, it's a field and a half.
After the rain,
having only started racing in February last year, After the Rain gave Gareth van Zyl enough confidence with his win in a Pinnacle Stakes just 10 months later in November to have a go at the Lomeran's Queen's Plate.
Another successful performance.
I'm very happy with the horse's training. He seems to have sort of stepped up since his last run. The draw will suit him with his style of running. And Muzigeni knows him, he's one on him. I think there'll be a lot of pace. He's also inclined to go up there and turn it on himself. Not exactly sure if that'll suit him in this type of race at weight for age, but I'm very happy with him as well. He seems to have stepped up a bit, and he'll have to take his chances.
The Queen's Plate is the most wonderful and most prestigious race to win in the country. So it's attracted a heck of a field.
Great racing coming up, and just can't wait to showcase these beautiful animals coming this weekend, and obviously at the Betting World Met.